Hi and welcome to video 3 on types of data. So let's talk about univariate data. Now, the first thing I want to do is define univariate data. Let's have a closer look at this. Variate is kind of the reference to variable, something that varies. We collect data and each data point varies. And then uni is a stem that represents a single piece. So in this case, it's a single standalone variable. Later in this course, you'll do bivariate data, which is where you relate two pieces of data. You relate two variables. So you might have them as an ordinate or a coordinate pair. You might say, I'm comparing somebody's height to how old they are. And that would be a related pair. But in this case, a univariate data, you're just saying, I've got 20 people's heights, and I'm going to look at a trend within that. And you're not worried about pairing it with anything else. So univariate data is just singular data that is there by itself. Now, we need to define types of univariate data. Well, in fact, this is just types of data in general. And you may have seen this before. I'm going to run through this and talk about some examples. So we have data, we collect some data, some information. Data is information. You might think incorrectly that data is just a pile of numbers. It could be a whole bunch of different things. Data is information. Now, then we can split it up. The information we collect is either numerical, which is probably a whole bunch of numbers, or it's categorically based data, so it's information about things in categories. Now, let's say we're collecting some numerical data. It's obviously number-based. Okay, now this number-based data could be discrete or continuous. So there's a specific difference here, and I'm going to write down just two words, and I'll talk you through some examples. So discrete data is countable. Almost misspelled it there. Countable data. Now, so we're looking at data that you can count. So some examples of discrete data, the number of students in a classroom, for example. You count them. You have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 25, but you don't have 17.6 students in a classroom. So it's countable and it goes up in distinct intervals. Then we have our continuous data. Continuous data is measurable. So if you're wondering which is which, your best bet is to think, would I measure to get this, or would I count to get this? Measurable data is things like height, or weight, or some mass measurement, or time-based data, or volume capacity-based data. And there's a few others, but not many. They're really your main ones. So have you measured something? And you'll see here that countable data goes up in ones probably, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Measurable data doesn't really have that distinct steppage, and it only really is defined by how you round it. That's where you get your steps. So measurable data could be somebody's height, could be the weight of a seed, or it could be the amount of water that each student can fit in their water bottle at morning tea. Okay, so there's our numerical discrete, numerical continuous. We also have categorical data. This is where we're looking at categories. So if I ask somebody, or collect some data on people's eye colour, that's not numerical, it's categorical data. But if I do ask and collect data on people's shoe sizes, I get numbers back, but it's actually categorical data because I'm putting things into categories. And it's not strictly based on the length of their foot, although it kind of is. It's kind of grouped, and we've defined those categories by the shoe sizes. So, categorical data can be split into either ordinal or nominal data. Now, ordinal data, and the hint is here, ordinal data is data that can be placed into an order. So, I'm going to just write down here our little hint, which is pretty obvious, is ordered data. And nominal data is not ordered data. How about that, hey? So, for example, ordinal data would be something like if you're purchasing coffee and you either get a small, medium or large. You notice I've just said it in an order that makes sense, small, medium, large. You don't often go somewhere and say, do you want a medium, a small or a large? There's an obvious order that you could represent that data in. Whereas nominal data might be something like eye colour. Now, of course, you could argue and say, well, you put the categories into alphabetical order, but that's still nominal data because it's not an ordered and normal in the sense of the word. So other examples of ordered data, if you're running in a race, you get first, second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. That's ordinal data. And other examples of nominal data, colour things, maybe favourite food, favourite pet, type of pet you have at home, etc. So there's your different types of data. So there's 4 types in total. and we call them numerical continuous or categorical ordinal data. We combine this name with this name here. Well, there's a nice short video. I hope you enjoyed it.